Hey, hey, hey! Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, as you have probably figured out, tonight's a little different. No games, no Lego Dimensions, which we usually play on Tuesday night. I thought tonight was about as timely a night as possible to sort of get back into the occasional Lego build stuff. Because I do have the new Lego Creator Lunar module set. Now, technically, I guess Saturday, right, would be the better day because that was the actual landing. But today was launch, and while I do have the Saturn V, it's a little too big for my kind of makeshift space, so we're going to do the lander, which is probably about the size of this white space here. I have to shift. I've been in this chair for a while. I apologize for this build space. It is kind of thrown together. I had a different build space in mind, but it just didn't work out right, so I cobbled this together really quick. If this comes together the way I expect it to come together, we'll do probably a couple hours tonight and a couple hours tomorrow to really kind of settle out the entire set. So we don't usually stream on Tuesdays, but I figure for this, I mean on Thursday, man, I can't get the day out. On Wednesdays, normally we stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But this time around, I think we're going to give it a shot just because, you know, this is kind of a big deal. It's 50 years ago today that we took our first steps landing on another body in our solar system. So let me grab the set. I did crack it open. It hasn't been opened prior to tonight, but I didn't want to have to deal with all the tape and everything live on stream, because watching a grown man struggle with Lego packing tape is really just sort of depressing because it's impossible. If you've ever opened one of these boxes with anything other than a knife, you totally understand what a pain in the butt it is. So let me dig in here. I'm not going to drag everything out. I know everybody likes to see the big... Oh, you know what? Screw it. Give the people what they want. And that's why I wasn't going to do it, because I knew I was going to hit that camera, because it's right above my head. And that's everything. I'm going to do that a lot tonight, because this camera is not where I'm used to it being. So if the world starts shaking, you know why. All right, so I'm going to start by kind of sorting out and seeing how many bags we got, what we should probably start working on. That's bag 3, that's bag 4, that's a bag 4. All right, so there's bag 1. I'm going to set bag 1 to the side because we're going to do that. Bag 2, another bag 1, another bag 2, another bag 4. All right, so we're definitely going to get through 1 and 2. I think we're safe in setting that goal for this evening. We are starting a little bit late. 4, 3, 4, and then whatever these end up being referred to as. So we may not get all the way through bag 2 now that I actually look at this. Bag 2 is pretty healthy. So let me take 3 and 4 and take the opportunity to smack that camera again. You're totally going to do that a lot. All right, give me my moose, because it's literally, I don't think you can see it, but yeah, you can. It's right there. It's like right at the edge of the screen. So it's right there. Strange things could happen at any time. So I'm kind of wedged in between, like, so I have a hand on my mic and a hand on the camera. So that's like my operating space right here. No stress. It is what it is. Crinkle, 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 noisier than Rick. I bet it is. It's probably coming from 2 places. So it's probably coming from here and probably here too. I think the cam link has the audio on, because I didn't reconfigure it to turn audio off. So if there are any weird audio things going on, that's why. Let me look real quick. There. That should calm down some of the noise, I hope. Maybe the crinkles less. Alright, so we'll start with bag 1. Bag 1's technically 2 bags. Look at this. We have foil pieces. Not just stickers, foily stickers. My gotten away with it too if it weren't for those dang kids. Foiled. All right. This is a healthy manual. Lego creator set 10266. Knock that over. Get my bags. Let's see where we're at. Oh, neat. It's got some cool space facts. JFK's famous quote: "We choose to go to the moon and do these other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard." Once upon a time, that was us. And of course, it's a pretty nice book. I haven't seen the whole thing. There's a great photo. And if you're going to come in and be all like, Stanley Kubrick shot it, you can just leave now, okay? Look at this. Everything you may ever possibly want to know about the lunar lander. Nice, good info here. And then, of course, on the base of the lander, the plaque that was left when the eagle and the LEM took back off. All kinds of aluminum. This is good stuff. It actually ships with reading material. I like it. There are tons of facts. And then, of course, now we're in the redundant portion, because they do go through and give you a couple of different languages to work with, depending on where you're from. So it looks like bag 1 is going to be the base. We shall build the moon. And then bag 2, we'll start to get into the core of the lander. And then tomorrow night, when we do 3 and 4, we'll see how it goes. I say tomorrow night. We'll see how long this actually takes. Glad I didn't throw that back in the box. But we'll offend Scrooge McDuck and the kids there a little bit and pop that up there. We'll drag these out. We'll start with these. I see space helmets. I'm literally just dropping these on the floor. I feel like I'm partly cut off here. Let's see. Oh, that's better. Let's do these. Oh, look! The very rare and almost never included in any set Lego separator. It's literally included in every set, like over 50 pieces. I see legs. Oi. Get that out of the way. So no headphones tonight, because obviously I'm not trying to hear game sounds. So I get to be free. One less wire in the world for one night only. I'm not going to do... I'm going to hate myself for saying this and for doing it, but I'm not going to do my usual... Yeah, I am too. Never mind. Forget it. This is a me thing. I know a lot of actual AFOLs do it too, but for me, it's gotten to the point where I can't not do this. It just makes me too nuts to have everything just exploded in front of me. I have to at least make an effort to get some things kind of lined up and squared away, because otherwise I just sort of lose my brain. Let's do that. I don't need them all out, but usually when I'm working downstairs, I have a card table set up. I have a lot more space, and tomorrow I'll have more space because I'll clean some of this up and declutterify other areas so that we can use that. We can do a better job of building stuff. Do these all together. All right, and I do that largely so that doesn't happen. There we go. That is exactly why I do that. But that'll help, because rolly pieces are annoying. There. And get those out of the way. Whee. All right. There's an ever-growing pile of just plastic on the floor behind me. Alright, so let's build this dude. Put him together. So there was some discussion in that people wanted to know, as two men went down onto the lunar surface in the lunar lander, as to which minifig represented which astronaut, which was Buzz Aldrin, which was Neil Armstrong. And you'll see there's, oops, he's a little dark, we'll use this one. But we've got this, and then we'll have another one here in a little bit, and I'll let you decide who is who. And even though they're just standard Lego minifigures, I think the designers did a pretty good job of saying this is Buzz, this is Neil, because there's a facial expression where you look at it and you go, yeah, that's him. So let's do one. Are these? Let's see what's in this bag. I suspect this is this miscellanea here. And these are separate parts. So let's pull this open. The bag with no number. The unenumerated was once over the moon when Buzz Aldrin liked one of my tweets. I need a soundboard because I need a wah wah sound. Wah wah. The plastic pile grows. Right. So we have 1 and 1. 1, 2, 4, 6, 7. All right, we've got everything. Let us begin. Yeah, it totally needs a wah-wah for that one. I don't know if I can put this up the full way or not, or if I'm going to need to shove it off camera here. I'm going to need to shove it off camera. Trust me, I'm following the directions, okay? Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they don't exist. Although this is a little bit harder over here because of lighting issues. Let's see if I can find a way to maybe... Excuse me. I can see why you'd be pretty stoked, though. I mean, national hero. That would be a big deal. You know what? Since I've already done that, I'm just going to turn the page. Let's see. I'm going to spend more time figuring out where to put the stupid manual. Three of these. I have that new intro song in my head now. It's like slammed in there. There were screenshots. I would take screenshots. I would take all and many screenshots if Buzz Aldrin liked something I said on social media. I would be all over that. I would be taking out billboard space. Buzz Aldrin liked my tweet. I'd be all about it. Yes, I would. Oh, this is going to be bigger than I thought. Houston, we may already have a problem. Alright, I need 3 of those. Let's see. Here. Here. And here. Okay, turn around. See, this is why I usually organize this a little bit better. But tonight we've got issues. Yeah, I get it. When you're first on social and you're like, famous people are paying attention to me. It can be very tempting to be like, I am screenshotting everything. I am documenting this. One day in the future, history will remember me. And then you remember the whole point of Twitter is that it lasts for about 90 seconds before the next thing happens. And then that's the end of the joy. Alright, where are we at? These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need it here. Right? We need that. And we need that. And we're going to have this. And that. Kind of works. Me. Save that for super luminaries like Carrie Fisher now. Yeah, yeah. Carrie would have been one that I screenshotted no matter what had she said anything to me. She could have liked it, and I would probably have screenshotted. Oh my God, Carrie Fisher liked me too. A response, I would have just died. I would have flatlined on the spot. So I get it. I get it. I'm gonna take these. Go here. Here. 1, 2, 3. So we continue to work through the mess. I said I figured it would be about this size. It may not actually be that big. I got a feeling it's going to be close. Going to be close. Close stuff. Another one. It's awfully close. Speaking of close. Yeah. That worked. Comparatively pain-free. Yeah, tomorrow we'll have a much better space. I didn't want to skip a stream because of stupid reasons. And I didn't want to not do this tonight, so made it work. Improvised. Improvised and overcame. Alright, so I don't actually have 2 of those, do I? Hey, Thorlor. You never had the patience to follow the instructions when you were a kid? I ended up making a spaceship regardless of what Legos are. You and Benny, right? Spaceship! Everything's a spaceship. I don't think that's that. You know what I mean? But let's see. We're going to make this and this. We got a focal issue. You know what? We're going to come in here just a little bit and see if we can't. Because I know I knocked this thing and kind of screwed stuff up a little bit, so see if we can't get a little. There, that's a little better. Alright, there we go with that. And then we need one of these, like so. And these. Yeah, okay, this is starting to feel somewhat more substantial than what I was afraid this was going to end up being, which was much smaller than I thought. Yeah, that looks more like a thing. If we flip this over like so, we take, what are we doing? 3 off the end or 2? 2 off the end. 2 off the end. Oh no, can't do that because I got the wrong one. It's this one and this one. 2 off the end. And then this one. Nope, it's going to be 1 off the end. Sometimes the upside downs are annoying. Look more right. Does that look more righter? That looks more righter to me. These there. Yep. And then these there. Yep. And then 2 of the rounds. That seems strange. It seems like it would be used. Normally they'd use it here to reinforce, but instead they got it a little off kilter. I don't know why. Ozimum got subbed. What's up? Now you can be like all soon. Oh, pneumonia. That blows. Rested and with pneumonia, though, that sounds like, that doesn't sound like a combination that works. That sounds like anything but 2 things that should go together. Sounds like all kinds of weirdiness. It would be okay apart from the coughing. I'd feel fantastic if I could breathe. Not breathing sucks. that. Not breathing can ruin your day. Put this together. I'm making a solar panel. It does kind of feel like a solar panel, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, I figured it was time to like make this the world's greenest stream. We'll generate our own electricity. Do our own green policies and plans, and then we'll something and then take over the world. That's how those things work, right? Where's the other one? Digging through the bits. Somewhere there's an AFOL that's going to watch this and just be like, what are you doing? You're doing it all wrong. Why aren't your pieces sorted? Why are you doing this? They're gonna be like Sheldon Cooper level stressed. Yes, Druid's Fire attempted to remove her small toe with a coffee table, thinking that such a blunt object would work. Oh, 5-day getaway with your daughter. That sounds like fun. Did we go anywhere interesting, exciting, thrilling? All of which I probably won't know anything about. But I like to learn where people go on vacations, because I Google them later and go, oh, that sounds like a nice place. I'm killing minifigs left and right here trying to get this to stand up. I can hear them all scrunching. I don't own a coffee table. I fell in my... Oh! Well, that seems like a complicated way to remove one's toe. So let's see, I need 9 of those. Let's see what we got. 2, 3, 4. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Da, da, da. Down to Brisbane. All right, cool. Is there like something there? Is there something to see? Is there like an attraction there, or is it just like Brisbane? Why are Legos still so expensive? I would have thought the patent expires 30 years ago. So it did. So that's why you have like Mega Blocks and Weapon and all of these things. But the reality is, while the concept and the basic patent for, of course I have the one pack open that doesn't freaking have one, for the basic building brick expired. But the quality that Lego puts in, the licensing that they get, all really just far exceeds everyone else's stuff. They're super quality compared to pretty much everybody. There's a weight and a thickness to the bricks that I don't think other companies have. I've used some other companies, not as nice. There's a lot of knockoffs out there that are entirely illegal knockoffs. You know, I see a lot of people buying stuff on like Alibaba and everything, and kind of ticks me off a little bit because they're straight up theft. You know, what they're doing basically is straight up theft. You know, no question about it. So that's annoying to me. It's one of these. Oh, look at that. We have a pre-printed brick. Don't usually have like lots of pre-printed stuff. So these go here, here, here. So I have a place picked out for this too. I already know where it's gonna go. Yes, I do. Where's the other one? Did the Koala Sanctuary Museum treated her to an expensive Italian restaurant? I I think it's great that you want to have like really good memories with your daughter, and I want her to have, like, you know, we did these fun things when I was growing up, and hopefully she passes that kind of thing on to her kids, you know. I think that's important. I think that's an important part of childhood for anyone, is to just have those memories with family, friends, you know, as often as you possibly can. Because that, to me, that's kind of what childhood's about. Is making those memories, having those experiences. And she's your daughter, so tell him to go pound sand. My kid, appreciate the input, but go pound sand. Oof. Yeah. I wonder if you did a poll of people who have broken bones. I wonder if there'd be like this ridiculously large contingent of people that have broken pinky toes on random pieces of furniture in the dark. I imagine that percentage would be quite high. I really do. Because that's just one of those things where it's like, I don't need to turn on the lights, I'm just going to run down, and then bam, right? Next thing you know, they're screaming and cussing, and other people in the house turning lights on going, what the hell? There you go. Exactly, you know, she was having fun, you were having fun, everyone was enjoying themselves, and that is exactly what summer vacation memories should be. Mom and I did this thing, and it was great. Yeah, exactly. When you bust a toe, I'm having two conversations at once in case anybody comes back and listens to a portion of this. I'm not psychotic. Well, I mean, the test isn't back, but there, you're right. It's like when you break anywhere in your foot, really. I mean, other than breaking the foot, there's not much they can do for you at that point. It's kind of, you know, oh yeah, any of the toes, yep, you broke it. Just try and stay off it. Suck it up, buttercup. And that kind of just is as good as it gets, right? There's not a lot you can do. Still haven't managed to get any face-to-faces. Have you gotten some telephone interviews, Dritzfire? I would think. I mean, I don't know when you sent out the last round of invitations. So. Alrighty. Give me this. You're offered a phone interview today. Cool. That's the first step. Phone interviews are weird. I neither like doing them in terms of as a job seeker, nor doing them as a person looking to hire someone. Because to me, they're just kind of weird. They can be very awkward, I think. No, I didn't do the other side. Oh yeah, I did. What are we gonna do? This is supposed to be the lunar surface, so they've made it inconsistent. Messing with my head. What's that? And there's that. Yeah, you beat me to it. There's a company that knows you, so that's a foot in the door. And I was gonna make a snarky comment about hopefully not the broken one, and they don't shut it on you. Broken foot, get her out. Because I mean, happens, right? Seen it. Now, did they know you? I beat you to it. I really need a whomp whomp button. I really do. So is it a company that knows you because they know you from work history, or is it a company that knows you from like the fan side of things? You can tell me to shut up at any time if you want. I won't, but you can tell me. Come on, Frozone. Yeah, 4 L's. 1, 2, 3. From the fan side of things in the games engine. All right, cool. 3, 4. You have not heeded all of the warnings of those of us who have told you it's madness over here. You got to do it anyways. That's fine. Let's see. There's those. That's good. We need 2 of these. 2 of these. This is actually going together a lot quicker than I thought. For as asymmetric as they've been trying to make this part of the build, sometimes I end up going, wait a minute, especially when I'm talking when I should be building or something. That becomes problematic sometimes. Miss a step, skip a page. All this effort to build a flat plastic slab that could have been one piece. Yeah, but I imagine it probably would have been an expensive mold. By the time you build the mold, cast the part, that part becomes very expensive. And then you have a very large piece that break, right? Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything in terms of like, so there's pockmarks and stuff. I'm guessing these equate to where the feet of the lander will be in those 4. I mean, they did have. Excuse me, coming through. So back in the 70s, they did, right? They had a molded piece. This is from one of the early space sets, and it's one piece. But as you can see, they haven't made them in a long time, and their value when you find them, and they're bigger than this too. Is it possible to get enough followers so that you would get paid to play with Legos all day? Now you're just saying things that are like my wife's worst nightmare. She's like, what? I imagine it could be, but I can't imagine actually doing it, right? I mean, just like the games industry, I know okay, I just blew my own theory. Look, there are sites that are sent advanced copies of games. There are sites that, review stuff. There are influencers. All of these things are true within the AFOL space as well. The AFOL is adult fan of Lego. So I guess in theory, sure. I don't know that I want to invest that much time into just straight up building. And I think there comes a point where then you need to start doing mocks. You need to start looking at doing my own creations and everything. So that's where that is. I know some YouTubers that post videos, so they'll like do this as a build video, and they'll review it as they build it. I don't know that I want to put that much energy into it. I do it for enjoyment. I have fun doing it. I think, and one of the things, and it's funny because someone was asking me today, and I told them this about streaming. How hard do you have to work at it? I was like, if you want this to be a job, you got to work at it. I mean, like Druid's Fire just said, you got to be able to stream enough. That whole consistent, do the same thing, get the people to follow you, get the people to do, like Druid's Fire said, get people to sub, get people to throw bits, whatever that translates into. I have to move something because I can't see people talking. um, then yeah, you can. The flip side of it is to kind of be like the people I work with a lot, you know, influencers, where they've reached a point that they have so many people follow them on social media or subscribe to their YouTube channels that really and guys like Dr. Disrespect, I don't know if you know who he is, who's here on Twitch, that just have so many people in their, you know, in their communities that companies will look at them and go, you know what, I just want you to stream my game, or I want you to promote this thing, and money gets handed to them, you know, in the 5-figure and sometimes up range. I don't know that that's true for Lego. I really don't. Imagine it could be, but I think Lego tends to lean more towards they really want fan type things. They do have, you know, kind of Lego sponsored fan communities called Lego user groups, or lugs, which you can, you know, get some sort of, you know, inside track to the company itself. I know in speaking with a couple of friends that are in a couple of lugs, they do get the opportunity from Lego to purchase things at steeply discounted rates sometimes. But in terms of, you know, actually sitting down and mapping out a plan that's going to get you everything Lego builds shipped to you every time, I don't know if that's a thing that they support. I have seen a lot of streamers, especially YouTubers, who do seem to get a pretty steady supply of stuff that they're not buying, that is being provided for review purposes. So I'm guessing it's a cart and a horse, right? So you've kind of got to ride the horse for a little bit before someone's willing to put you in a position to say, hey, let me send you a bunch of stuff. And it was the same when I was in press in gaming. When you worked for a small site, it was always a struggle. It was, how do you get to a point where, and every company was different, how do you get to a point where, you know, someone's going to stand up and say, hey, I like what you're doing, let me send you stuff. There was a point in time where I would come home from work and there'd be boxes and boxes and boxes of just stuff. Holidays terrified me, made Anita nuts, just because the volume of stuff came, because enough companies, and this was a while ago, this was more than 20 years ago, enough companies had reached a point where it was like, having good indie voices was great. They really wanted, you know, if you had good readership and you were indie, they didn't care that you weren't IGN or you know, Games Radar or anything like that. They just wanted to know that you were decent writers, you had decent views, you had decent monthly uniques, and if they sent you something, you reviewed it. And that was really kind of all the criteria that you had to meet 20 years ago. Now, I wouldn't even know. I would assume now a lot of that has been replaced by influencers, and a lot of it is also now based heavily on, you know, the handful of game sites that are sort of still standing with any kind of meaningful readership. Oh, I'm doing math, hang on. That's not where that goes, it goes away. One more back. There. Alright, so it's starting to look a little bit more like pock marks, and I still say these are going to end up being feet for the landers. 1, 2, buckle mashing. 3. Oh, uh-oh. There it is. 4. Knock these out. Putting average over 75 viewers per stream. These seem to have lots of subs and bits thrown at you, so Twitch sees you as a good source of stuff. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, ultimately, I think, I mean, it's literally called a partnership, right? Partner status, which is dramatically more challenging to reach than affiliate status, is basically Twitch saying, you are generating so much content and we are able to monetize your content so well that we want to give you a way to monetize it too. And that's how that works. Which makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, Twitch is a business. They need to make money to keep this whole thing running. And that's makes perfect sense to me. They're not going to hand, but what do we have to do to be an affiliate? It's on everybody's dashboard. It's no secret, but it's really not that much. I think the real challenge in being an affiliate is probably getting the 50 followers and then, what is it, the 3 concurrents. Because for someone starting out with really just, I'm going to throw, all this at the wall and see what happens, that's challenging. I had a dormant account that already had almost 200 people following it. So when I started it, it wasn't that hard to hit affiliate. I mean, I did it in, what, a month? But now it's really different. If I were to like really kind of sit down and say, all right, I'm gonna be a partner, that would take a monstrous amount of time. And it's supposed to. And it should. I mean, effort and reward, right? I shouldn't be able to take a dormant account and make it a partner account in 2 months. That would be ridiculous to the guy who just spent 8 months trying to build his nothing account up to do the same thing. It would be unfair. So I think the system is actually pretty good in terms of the math of it and the challenge required. And quite frankly, if you put that much time and energy into something, the odds of you bailing out and saying, you know what, screw this, I've decided I'm not going to do it, drop dramatically. Dramatically, right? Because now you've got, and I hate this phrase, but it's true, you've kind of got skin in the game. You've got blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of effort, a lot of stress in getting to that point, and then you're rewarded for it. So the odds that you're suddenly just going to say, you know what, screw it, I'm out, are pretty low at that point, I would think. But, it's a challenge. Look, I got frustrated trying to find a space that was working for me, and there was a point where I was like, you know what, screw this. And then I thought about it. I was like, no, because I got however many I got now, what, a half dozen of you that are actually paying to watch my ass show up. So now there's an obligation there, in my opinion. I owe you this. So it gets, now scale that, right? So you have 500 people paying to watch you do whatever you're doing. That's a lot of stress. That's an awful lot of stress. I have nothing but admiration for guys who do this, and women. I say guys, I mean people. And part of what I did is because, and part of why I did this is because of what I do. I needed to have a better understanding of the work, right? Because I'm looking at these people and telling them, in my opinion, I think your effort is worth X. And I was starting to feel that maybe that was a little bit unfair because I understood the work, right? I had no direct frame of reference, no personal frame of reference, and I think that's important. And then I just started liking it. See, I'm an old radio guy, so the idea that I get to sit here and just talk and prattle on is freaking amazing to me. And then people actually show up and put up with it for a while. That's even more amazing. But that's my 2 cents. And honestly, I think this is like any other creative endeavor. I mean, it may not feel like this is creative, watching some old guy build a Lego set. But there are people out there that are doing some really, really creative things, that are just super, super talented, that are able to keep an audience enthralled regardless of what they're doing. Um, and that's work, and that's effort, and that's, creativity that, in my opinion, should be rewarded, and rewarded well, for as long as they can maintain it, and want to do it. My 2 cents. I don't mean to be all lectury and preachy, but this is a creative endeavor, in my opinion, just as much as if someone were making pottery, right? Leftover piece. That's normal. That's a different type of creativity. I mean, I guess sitting here imparting my opinions and knowledge in a way that I at least hope comes off as somewhat coherent and intelligible. I'm not going to say intelligent, intelligible. That's kind of a thing, right? So trying to be at least moderately entertaining while putting a lot of gray plastic on a slab. I'm guessing that's where the engine hit. I see a flag. That's going to be an extra piece too. Yeah, I think so too. I think if you have subscribers and you decide, you get to a point where you're like, let's say I decided, you know what, I'm just done. I no longer have an interest in this. It would be a total jerk move for me to just evaporate, right? We're not talking tons of money. We're not talking riches. Rick isn't getting rich here. But still, there's an element of faith that's been placed there. So I think there's a duty incumbent upon the streamer to give notice. How about that? We'll say that. It's incumbent upon the streamer to give notice, for the simple reason that you can't, it's a job, right? It's probably the most basic way I can think of to put it. It's a job. People expect you to show up, and if you're not going to show up, then you need to quit, and you need to give notice so that people know not to renew subs, so that people know, hey, I put it on crooked. I suck at decals. I really do. I'm just terrible at it. And then I think there's an obligation for that streamer to continue streaming up to the point where all of the subs expire. I think that's the minimum they should do. You have some knowledge from the inside, Rick, since working with content creators. Yeah, sure. I mean, and I'm happy kind of to share it, a little bit of it, as I do the podcast with Katie Posma. If you don't know, Friday Push to Prod, we do it on Facebook Live. I've had a couple of people tell me, hey, you're giving away the secret sauce. It's like, if Katie and I sit down and do a podcast with someone who's willing to come on, and someone else avoids making the mistakes we make, and I used current tense intentionally, good. And if I can learn something from a guest, or from Katie, or from questions from people watching, good. And I feel kind of the same way about this. I'm more than happy, right, to, if someone has a question, help. I got a request the other day, as someone wanted to stream. They're like, hey, I know you usually get paid for this, but would you help? The person had 22 followers. It's like, really? I'm supposed to talk about how I get paid to do this? No. I had no followers once too. Now I got to figure out where to put this. See, this was the short-sightedness of my plan. I'm going to put this over here. I go with bag 2. Bag 2 and 2. I feel like Chuck Willard. What did I do? 2 and 2. Suddenly start singing the Rescue Rangers. I took a picture of them actually in a Hawaiian shirt and one with a hat on it. I should post that. I got to scroll back and chat here for a second. I was like, yeah, have some knowledge for Rescue Rangers. Then the DuckTales theme, Scrooge McDuck, the nephews. What about, oh, you can't see them. They're off the, I just realized you can't see Edna. You can only see Frozone's feet. You got Hercules and Hades. And Jafar. So when we were playing Aladdin last night, Jafar was hanging out. Jasmine's right behind him. She's just kind of off. Someone we know did that recently when they took a summer hiatus and said it was okay for people to unsub. I think if you tell people that you're going away or there won't be, you know, new content for a set period, then yeah, I think that's okay. And I agree. If people feel like, hey, you know, if you're going to be gone for 3 weeks, I'm not going to sub to you that month. Why would you? You're only getting 1 week's worth of content instead of 4. I agree with that. I think how that's presented, though, is important, as long as it's presented ahead of time and not as a, hey, I'm going away tomorrow, you know, bye. It's a pretty cool set. Can you still buy it new? Yeah, actually, it just came out a couple months ago. It is still available. I've kind of been sitting on it. There's also a Saturn V that you can still buy. That is, no lie, 4 feet tall. I do have it. I know where I want to put it. I just, again, I gotta find space for it. Hot space for a rocket. Woo! They'd kill me. Spaceman Spiff over there. Oh, you can't see him. He's off. He's off the reservation. Where are we at? There he is. Oops. There. Oh, he looks terrible in that light, though. Alright, this time I am sorting this stuff out, because it looks like there's just more little stuff this time around. I feel like I should almost buy like a little music stand to set the manuals on. Or at least like an iPad. Yeah, if you go to, I don't know what country you're in, Third, but I think it'll redirect. If you go to shop.lego.com, you can, they're actually promoting it, obviously, because of the day. And I think it auto redirects based on geolocation. So you would be able to see the price in your country. I want to say it was like $100. Again, Lego, not cheap. But for this, really cool. It's like 1,000 pieces. So the rule of thumb for Lego, if you kind of want to know if you're getting a good deal or not, and people will argue this until they're blue in the face, or tell you all the ways where yes, but for me it's just like, this is a rule of thumb. Therefore, there will be situations in which it will not apply. So don't hassle me. A dime a piece. So if your piece count works out to being about 10 cents per piece compared to the price, then that's good. So that means a 1,000-piece set should be about $100. Where that changes is licensed set, particularly Star Wars sets, because then it's usually 10 cents per piece plus about $20, give or take, depending on the size of the set, for licensing fees. So, oh no! Oh, I have that one. I have that one, Mom. I have the walkie. Yeah, it's over. It's behind me in the bookcase. I actually bought the Lego AT-AT that walks, the motorized one, in a bin. I found this guy on Facebook Marketplace, and he was selling just this ginormous bin of Lego. And it was kind of like an archaeological dig, because there were like layers. It was like at the very bottom, it was like circa 1980s, and as you came up, it got to about 2005 or 2006 in terms of the rough age of the Lego. And one of the things I could see in the ad was one leg. There was one leg of the walker laying in the thing. I was like, if that's all there, it's worth more than he's asking for the bin. So I took a risk, and not only was it all there, All of the minifigures were there except for the AT-AT driver, which I was able to pick up for 10 bucks. And it all worked. Oh, and I had to replace the battery case because someone had left batteries in it for God knows how long while it sat in the garage. And that was $4. So I got that out of it. There was also, what else was in it? The attack on Endor, the bunker on Endor. That whole set was 100% complete and intact in there. I didn't have to buy anything. There was some old 1990 set that were in there. There was part of one of my favorite themes, the old Monster Hunter series. There were some things in there. It was really kind of crazy what all was actually in this box. It was probably a good 60 pounds. It stank. Oh my God. It stank so bad. It had, people of a certain age in the U.S. will know what I'm talking about. I don't know if you had these in Australia, Mom, but it was, you used to be able to buy these tubes. They were, yeah, about yay long. And they were filled with more or less a plastic goop, for lack of a better term. It came with a little straw. And the idea was you squeezed some out on the end of the straw and you blew through it. And it made these kind of rubberized balloons that when they dried, they were actually kind of cool. But before that, they stuck to everything. And they were horrible. It was like, if you tried to blow in that tube and you got your breathing wrong and you inhaled, you were like, my lungs are on fire. They were just hell and murder. And someone had broken a tube of that in the bin. And there were, now I'm going to gross people out. There were a couple of Band-Aids. Not new ones. There was clearly a point in time at which perhaps an animal or two had found their way in. It was bad. The guy did not lie, though. There was no smoke smell whatsoever. So they went through a very rigorous bleaching, drying in the sun kind of process that was just rigorous beyond probably need, but it was a little gross. But what I got out of it made me pretty happy. So it is what it is. And yes, I'm doing my super anal thing here. And the space really isn't large enough to fully accommodate it, so there's a point where I'm going to stop. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's gross, but it's true story, yeah. Yeah. So it was a question of taking like a small bin, right, out of this huge. It was probably a 3-foot long, one of those like you put all your Christmas decorations in it, plastic bin, and it was probably 2 feet deep. Actually, it was probably close to 4 foot long, 2 feet deep, full, top to bottom. And I would just do them one little tub at a time. That was, I think it was like a 2-gallon tub. I would do it, and it was take them, put them in the tub, put some bleach in the tub with them, scrub them, and go around a few times, swishing them, rinse it out, do it again 2 or 3 more times, then take, some Dawn dishwashing soap and put it in there because it's fairly gentle. Using that to kind of get the rest of the goop off. It was just hellish. It really was. It was misery. It probably took, I mean, it broke me, right? I was like, that's it. I'm not buying bulk anymore. Screw this. The deals were great, but the amount of effort required to capitalize on them, it was just, I suffered that summer. I had a giant beach blanket out in the backyard that I would just take, and after I wash everything, just dump everything out in the backyard. and let it dry in the sun. This is the only way to get it aired out. I would get sick smelling the bin. And when that was done, I usually recycle bins and everything. That thing went straight out to the curb and said, "Free. Take it. Get it away from me." It was nasty, to say the very least. It's just so bad. Oops. There's a lot of parts in this bag. And now I got these little dinky ones, but that's okay because I have these. These are super useful. That's off to the pile. These keep all these little tiny pieces and little rolly bits safely in one place. There we go. Now I can just slide that over there. Good. So let me swap him out so it's not fully under my wrist. There we go. Put him there. Good deal. We got plastic bits. Oh, you have to put them all together again. And I have. Oh, you have the non-walking one too. I don't have any of those. Those are cool. They have more detail. The walking one isn't as heavily detailed because it needs to be able to move. I don't know how many times you've actually walked it, but it walks funny. I'm waiting for winter to come back, and I'm going to drag it outside and make it walk through the snow. I figure that's fitting and appropriate. One of the very small upsides of it actually snowing here is that I do sometimes get to take advantage of the snow. I did, let me see if I can find it really quick. Throw it up here. I did use it for, I'm feeling I'm not on the page. I think I am. Nope. Go there. I'm going to drop a link in chat here. Just 1 second. It was a while ago, so because it was in winter, so I got to go back and find it. Where is it? Ah, there it is. There we go. So that was the first attempt, and there's a couple more winter shots in there. Or something to look at. All right, pieces. We got pieces and parts. Oh, this is going to be fun. All right. One. Knock that in there. Put it around. Of course, now I don't remember where I actually put things. So. Zip. Zip. Here we go. Oh, I gotta move stuff again. Need 2 of these. That. I got hinges. Got hinges going on. The internal temperature of a tauntaun. Lukewarm. But I'm bumps. That actually came out of that same giant box of nasty. Now that I think about it, it's the old set that has the snow speeder, Luke hanging upside down in the Wampa cave, and the Wampa. And the Wampa was complete. Even his horns were there, which never friggin' happens. I was blown away. He was 100% complete. Yeek. That. There we are. 1, 2. Yeah, it's really cool. It sits over there. I have another set that's the turrets with Han on a Tauntaun. You cannot cut the Tauntaun open, sadly. In Lego Star Wars, Luke dies of exposure. Spoiler alert. I have to do that 4 times. Oh boy. And then they do what? Then they go here. Alright, so 4 more of these guys. There did used to be a Tauntaun you could put Luke to. It was one of the Kenner toys from the 80s. You could slice it open and shove Luke in there and keep him warm. Because what happens on Hoth stays on Hoth. Never speak of this again. Creepy. Creepy gross. So I don't know how old everyone is, but was anyone old enough to actually remember the landing when Apollo 11 landed? I don't think so. I think I may be the oldest one, and I was like a year and a half old. Because it was July of '69. I was born in December of '67. Yeah. I have distinct memories of rocket launches and splashdowns, but they were later Apollo programs. And I have memories of the last Apollo mission, the final 1974 splashdown before we went to the space shuttle a few years later. So I can remember, you know, my parents were very much cognizant of historical things and making a point of saying, watch this thing, it's important. So that was one of them. But I was just a little bit too young. Wait. No, that's right. For Apollo 11. Just a little bit. I just realized there's like different colored. Oh, we're good. We're good. Too young by a few years. Fine. All right, just say it. I'm old. I can take it. I can take it. Oops. Oh, that's right. Where are... Exactly. Should do a just chatting where all we say is get off my lawn to everyone who comes in. Get off my lawn. Damn kids, get off my lawn. I'm not old, I'm vintage. Oh, you can be my friend. I like it. I'm vintage. Well, I mean, you know. Rocking the vintage Atari Space Invader tee. Told a university present to get off your lawn. All right. I can imagine which stream that was. And the song. Space Invaders. Oh yeah. And what was the Pac-Man Fever? Was that like 83, 84? The song. There's an actual Pac-Man Fever song. For which no one ever apologized, and I think technically that's a war crime. It was really bad. Like, super, super bad. Uh-oh. Hang on. I have to find the bits. Oop, nope. This is when things get annoying. That. When you've got that last piece and it just kind of blends in. And in your brain you're going, and I know every single A-fold does this because I've seen other people talk about it. There's a point at which you're trying to find a piece and you're looking at it, and your brain goes, damn, this is going to be the set where I have a missing piece. Watch. And like 5 seconds later, you find it. That's what I just did. All the time. It's a thing. It happens so much. Alright, so now I need, what is 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Since we're talking vintage and retro. Oh! Finding gems like that to burn on CDs and embarrass my kids with. That makes you an amazing mom. Any opportunity that you can torture your children in a non, like, you know, bad way, but just embarrass them to the point where they really want to move to another planet, that's just good parenting. I'm sorry. So which am I, Laverne or Shirley? I don't know. Usually I'm Lenny, but some days I feel like Squiggy. Mr. Squigmund. I am always, and I'm pretty sure I've said this before, amazed at some of the, not so much this set just yet, although a little bit with the base, some of the innovative solutions to make sure that, oops, I skipped a step, C? To make sure that things stay together. It's not uncommon that LEGO comes up with some really, really innovative solutions from an engineering standpoint to underpin sets and literally hold them together. I DJ'd more oldies on the online station I used to do. Nice. From the 50s to the 90s. Wow. Made a whole CD of songs like Star Trek and Walk the Dinosaur was a good movie. Ah. Was Not Was. Walk the Dinosaur was a great song. That was a club hit. That'll kill your kids. Tell them that. Tell them Walk the Dinosaur was a huge club hit, because it was. And that was like before the 12-inch remix. Which there was one. Oh my god. Now I want to hear that song. Elvis landed in a rocket ship, healed a couple of lepers, and disappeared. It was massive. It was crazy. Huge hit. Very popular song. David was and his brother. Was not was. Yep. I believe David was still produces. Could be wrong. I mean, the guy could be dead. I don't know. I seem to recall hearing his name fairly recently. But again, old brain, don't know. Yep. So this thing's going to be... I saw one of these assembled in a Lego store. It's a lot bigger than you probably think. I really expected kind of like a small set. And it turns out that it's actually quite large. And I think part of that was because when I was a little kid, they had a version of this that they made. It was all blue. It was so early they didn't have minifigs. You built these weird things with like connecting arms and these really scary round heads. But it was neat because you got the lander and you got the rover. And I thought it was going to be about that scale, but this is actually quite a bit larger. Which I'm happy about, to be honest. Because it'll make a nice display piece. I do believe. There's one. Where is it? Two. Have a good night, Aussie Mom. It's like a weird Motel 6 statement. We'll leave a lurk on for you. Alright, did I miss something? Did I have a stupid moment? Nope, we're good. Section 10. Shark in the bathtub. I don't remember Shark in the bathtub. Dementia Radio in homage to Dr. Demento. That was such a great show. We used to listen to it on Y100 in Miami when I was a kid. Sunday nights. Dr. Demento. Uh-oh. And this one. So 1, 2, 1. Huh. All right. Where do we go? There we go. Easy peasy. I also like how you build enough stuff, you start to realize what pieces are less expensive for Lego to manufacture, or which ones they do at such high volumes that they just use them for everything. Because a lot of internal structures will be the standard, like blue and red and colors that do not show up anywhere on the model, but the entire interior structure is like all of these pieces. Like when you built the Death Star, all of the floors are like a sandwich that end up being about this thick, and the top layer is all gray, and the bottom layer is all gray, but everything in between is like red and blue and yellow, because you don't see it. And they just kind of shove it in there and go, yes, use this for support. So we need 2 of these, which will go here, here. Yep. And we need this, and this, and that. Oops. Some days my fingers are too big. It's almost like they build this stuff for kids sometimes. Although, to be fair, this is a Creator Series set, and I think it's 14 plus. 16 plus. So you have to be old enough to drive a car in most US states to assemble this Lego kit. Move that. Come on. Let's do that. Just there we go. Oh look, I have more room for the instructions now. Needs this. Let's go over there. Small Technic piece for these good guys. Two of these. Uh oh. Clever. So this is kind of what I was talking about with the engineering aspect of some of this stuff, which you kind of don't think about. And that's, so like these pieces in here kind of tied everything together, and things that were kind of floppy, they all got tied in by these pieces and by these. So now there's a level of rigidity and strength, you know? Science! Six and 8. And again, this is just going to tie stuff in to where these won't wobble off anymore. Reinforcements. Structural reinforcements. There we go. And this the other way. There. Now everything's, that's actually pretty rugged and cross-braced. Spiffy. Ugh. Here comes another one of those, what the heck are we making builds. I don't understand what this is going to become. Alright, so we need this. We need two. We need two. 1, 2, 2. Uh-oh. 2, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a new looking piece. 4 of those. 1, 2, 3. So the other thing that kind of messes with your head sometimes, the Lego sets, is they intentionally put extra parts in. So you get done with the section, you're like, are those supposed to be there? Oops, I gotta find the thing. There it is. The hippie shake. So that, we got that, we got that. 2 of these. The dark grays. We need 4 of these. 1, 2. 4. Upside down pieces make me nuts. 2. And then 2. Great, good. Alright. Off we go. All together now. Pull this. Barry. He just had his 78.26 RPM birthday. Barry Gibb? Oh, Barry is Dr. Demento's real name? I didn't know that. I just thought it was Doctor. I'm a funny guy. Just not tonight. I really didn't know that his name was Barry. I had no idea. I mean, obviously, I knew what it wasn't. Clearly was not Dr. Demento. But today I have learned something. See, that's why I like doing this. Barrett Hansen is Dr. Demento's real name. That's cool. I feel informed now. I don't know what value that information has, but it's something I didn't know before tonight. And I think that's good. Any day you learn something, even stuff that most people might think is mundane or useless or pointless, it's a good day in my book. Always learn something new. Where'd it go? There it is. Starting to think 2 bags was probably right about the perfect place, because by the time we get done with the rest of this, probably going to be pretty close to midnight, and that'll give us a really strong lead into tomorrow night. Now, where do these go? Let's see if I can't get this up here where, oh crap, I can actually see. I have a little light here. I'm trying not to make, I'm trying not to do this, so that now I look like, not that I don't look like that all the time, but I'm trying not to be so completely underlit, but I need to be able to see. So this is saying we do this and this, and these go down like so. Snap, snap, everything snaps in. It's all snappy. For these 1, 2, 3. Of course, the only problem with these things is you sometimes can't actually see over the edges. When I build in larger build space, I have multiples of these and bins and everything, and everything goes out. Just start stacking it all up and go. So we'll do that. And that. Yeah, eventually I want to get to a place where this is a normal part of the stream. So, I mean, we say Tuesdays are Lego night, which I always intended for this to be a Tuesday night thing. But I think there's so many Lego games out, and people seem to really enjoy watching Lego Dimensions. I don't think people really kind of got into that game when it was new. So it's kind of like something totally different, and we seem to do okay. People seem to be interested in it. So we'll keep doing that. I just wanted to do this for purposes of this evening. Yeah, so let's take 2 of these. Wait, did I miss a page? Look like this. No, 18. Alright, 18. Yep. 19. 2 of these. And 1 of them. 1 of them. Look, I made a canister. 2 again. It did say 2. Over there. Ta-da! We do. Is that flat top or bottom? Okay, so that's round on the top. So that's this. That's 1. Oh, nope. You're dead. Spoiler alert. Those, these, Same deal, one flat, one rounded. There's that. Dope. I did not look at the instructions, I assumed. Almost got me in trouble. There. There's both of those. Where do they go? They go here. Now see, sometimes you kind of have to look, because that's not actually how it looks there. Because it's showing this way in the next frame. Have to pay attentions. Flip them. Smack it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh no. Oh look, fun facts. The lunar lander carried both fuel and an oxidizer to ignite the hypergolic fuels, since it was not possible to use fuel without an oxidizer in space. Kids, there's no oxygen in space. Stuff doesn't burn. Every sci-fi movie you ever saw is wrong. So that's what those are. That's pretty cool attention to detail. One fuel cell, one oxidizer cell. I like it. Didn't know you were going to get educated, did you? I didn't either. But that's neat. Once again, information. Information is good, no matter what the government tells you. It's always best to be informed. There is no substitute for knowledge and information, in my personal opinion. This, that. Little stack. There. Alright, so we got 2. Now we'll build up this. For those reading along at home, number 26. Oops, where the other ones go? Let's pull these over here. There we go. And that. And this. And this. Followed by... Ah, that makes much more sense. This. Go here. We don't have... Oh, they're there. Really? How's that gonna work? You say so. Oh no, it does line up. Look at that! Engineering and math. 2 things I suck at pretty bad. Perfectly sorted out. Nicely done. And this here. Good stuff. Then we do it again. So we only got this far with this one, so now we need this. Uh-oh. Need this. I found, I was looking on YouTube the other day, I found all kinds of vintage, like, commercials like original Nintendo Game Boy commercials, that kind of vintage. Atari 2600 commercials, ColecoVision, 1970s Lego commercials from when Lego did not actually exist in the US. It was manufactured and sold under license by Samsonite Luggage. Like, holy crap, I've gone down a deep, deep rabbit hole. It was pretty fascinating, though, seeing some of that stuff. And then that. Alright. I got 2 of them now. Oh, and the story continues. The saga continues. So we need this. 2 of these. Yeah, I need to get a more overhead light instead of this one that's kind of off to the side. Which I have, just not here. It's over there. It will make everyone's life more enjoyable. Then I'll have less glare on the manuals, which I will appreciate. Like so. This. That. That's one. That's an awful lot of like flat glossy black space. And we need these. Wait. Uh-oh. Rick is not paying attention. I made a move. I thought this was very shaky and like not terribly structurally sound. It's because it's not. Because it should be this way. Yes, that's better. Now it makes more sense. Then there. And there. That works. How do you know when Rick is getting tired? He starts making mistakes. It was a long day. Like this. 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 There we go. Order is restored to the galaxy. We have achieved normality. Anything you still can't handle, it's your problem. Alright. So these. Upright. Go here. And here. I have stabbed myself. There. These. Not sure what these are supposed to be, honestly. They're red, so they're probably dangerous and explosive. Wow. The question is, since you had Douglas Adams' email address, did you email him and what did you talk about? I mean, I would think, of course, if you have Douglas Adams' email address, you would email him. This feels like a side of a ship now. You know? Something like that. Neat. You don't have any archives of email that old? That's cool, though. Way back in the AOL days, I actually used to have like really long, odd conversations with Tom Clancy. He used to teach a writing class on AOL. And then afterwards he would go and he would hang out in like the writer's room. There was just people, aspiring writers would hang out, and sometimes he'd come and talk to them. And for whatever reason, I guess he decided I was the least stupid person in the room, which is a long way from being the smartest. And I was worth talking to, which I always thought was kind of neat. Or it was Sunday morning and he had just hammered the mimosas, which is also possible. Both things can be true, though, I suppose. You have a hand-coded website dated back to 1994 and not updated since 96 that is still online. Okay, so first question, why? Second question, why? Why does this exist and why is it still online? What is going on? I can't remember the last time. Well, I'm weird. I still hand code largely any site that I end up having to build, which thankfully is almost none these days. Oh, that's different. That's a different approach. All right. Interesting. The first ever website devoted to She-Ra, Princess of Power. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's funny. The machine it lives on belongs to my oldest friends that I still putter with mushes with. Wow. The email address dates back to 93. I can remember I had a I had an MCI email address at one point. I don't know why. I had no valid, legitimate use for an MCI email address ever in my life. Like ever. But there it was. That's interesting. I'm building a one-off. Because this doesn't duplicate. Ooh, and we have a lander fact coming up. Let's see. Right? Yep. Right. Yep. Right. Yeah, I had an old MCI. I can remember getting a CompuServe email address when CompuServe email was only an email service. Talk about get off my lawn. That's some old crap right there. That is antique. Especially since I'm pretty sure that I used to dial into it with a 1200 baud modem and a Packard Bell 386 8 megahertz with 16 megahertz turbo mode. The last time you heard somebody talk about turbo mode. And it had the button. Remember, you used to have to push the button. You put the computer into turbo mode. What does that do? And why wouldn't you just leave it in? I have a way of doubling the speed of my computer? And I'm supposed to turn it on and off? Screw that. Always on. Oh, that's cool. Co-creator of She-Ra sent you a thank you note for having a fan site. That's cool. Some people are definitely like some creators, you know, especially of cultural icons like that. Although at the time, it probably wasn't all about like, oh, I'm a cultural icon. He's probably like, holy crap, they made my stuff. Which is, you know, sort of in and of itself kind of neat. I have no idea what the point of this is. But I have a tape deck now. I have a little tape deck. Let's see how close I can get there. A little tape deck. Is this one better? No, because there's no light. Which reminds me, we now need a record player. Oh, that was during his Babylon 5 days. Oh, cool. He's a good person to follow on Twitter. Good to know. Where are we going with this? We're going here. Yeah. So the camera in quadrant 4, filmed Armstrong as he climbed down the ladder and placed his foot on the moon. So that's the camera that shot Neil taking the first steps on the moon. That's really super cool. Like really, really super cool. The little details, you know, that they put in this. The camera that filmed Neil Armstrong. That's top shelf right there, I think. One of these. One of these. Oops. And one of these. And this. Now, gonna lose some nerd cred. I could never really get into Babylon 5. I just wasn't my thing. Was not my deal. I've been down with virtually every sci-fi show ever except for that one. I don't know why. Just did not do anything for me. I'm told that I should go back and give it a shot. But then I'm also told that it really, really didn't hold up well, so I don't know how valid either of those statements are. Let's do this. All right. That basically folds up. Neat. You can deploy it to film Neil taking a walk. Not really good. See, I already pre-built this part. Got that, got that. Got this. And This may just be just like kind of a stock side with no cool gadgetry and stuff. Come back. This is why you need something that constrains rolling bits. There we go. And yep. This bitch. And interesting place to put this. More hinges, so we should have more secrety bits. And we love secrety bits. Lego calls them play features. They're play features. That's actually kind of an interesting topic of discussion within the AFOL community. I think sometimes AFOLs forget that ultimately these things largely are designed for kids as toys. The overwhelming majority of it. I mean, this isn't. This is really kind of built as a display model kind of thing. Evidence the age group it's targeted at and the complexity and some little things. But every now and then Lego will come out with like a theme set. So like, I think the Hoth set from last year or a couple of years ago, it was billed as an Ultimate Collector Series set, but it was a play set. It was just a big honkin' set with a huge amount of play features for playing on Hoth, basically. And it was kind of a compilation of a bunch of sets, and people got all pissy and grumbly. I was like, it's a toy. But you said it was an Ultimate Collector Series, like the Death Star. It's still toys. You know? At the end of the day. Go here. Oh, it's sticker time. One of my least favorite moments of the day. Least favorite moments. I feel like I missed whole sections of stuff because I got like, I know where these are going, but I don't know where those are. I really feel like I've screwed something up here, like badly. Did not. I'm just getting ahead of myself. I do that sometimes. Hey, another fun fact. The laser reflector in Quadrant 2 was placed on the surface of the moon when a laser light was pointed at it from Earth. The distance to the moon could be measured, and apparently it's still there. I think there's a Big Bang series episode where they actually do the experiment of bouncing the laser off the moon. Number 5. Number Johnny 5, still alive. No disassemble. Another opportunity to screw up a perfectly good decal. Yep, and I did. Sorry. So this goes in there. Oops. So it literally just sits in there. It's basically a luggage compartment. Ta-da! Ginormous luggage compartment. There we go. Put this stuff on. And now I'm going to be really sad because there's just a ton of decals coming up on the next page. Which is not my bag at all. decals make me sad, especially on like a set like this. It's like, print a part, come on, run it through the printer. Make America proud. All right, there we go. Huh. Feels awkward. That's where it goes. Right there. There. It just feels like it's in the wrong place, you know? Because it is. It totally is. Now I've just assembled everything. I broke it all. I was talking more than I was paying attention. I also think it was built differently than the other ones, and I didn't pay attention to that fact. Let's spit the piece out, come back. Let's see what we got. Where did I go wrong, Bob? There's that, there's that. Well, for starters, I missed that piece. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. All right. Yep. 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 I don't get it, it's right. Doesn't feel like it should be right, but it's right. There we go. I know what I did wrong. Other than just generally being stupid. I know what I did wrong. I mounted it upside down. I built it right, I just installed it wrong. It's the problem when you have multiple contractors working on a complex system. I'm installing it wrong again. That. There we go. My brain will engage at some point. There. Now it all looks right. That should be camera, right? Yep. Sweet. Now we need this. So I fear the next step, rather seriously. Alright, so if we turn this goes here. Oops. I won't crash it before it ever leaves the planet. Alright, tons and tons and tons of flippin' decals. Alright, what do we got? So we got this. I need 9, 8, and 14 off of this sheet. Oh, this does not make me happy. So it's 9, 8, 14. So let's do 14 first. 14 goes down towards the bottom. Let me see if I can use a little trick here. Sometimes helps position. If you do that, and get a little bit better view of the mess that you're about to make. Not terrible. Not terrible. I'll take it. So we need what, 9? Which is this one. Some crazy cold foil stuff. Which we'll do this way. Let's see. Black top circle. Not great. And then an 8 is this one. Goes this way. Oh crap. Again, not terrible, not great. I've certainly done worse. Even when I used to build plastic model kits, I always hate putting the decals on. Just never quite would get them right, you know? Alright, so we close this up. This gets more decals. God knows you can never have enough decals. Alright, this way. This is going to be full space, maybe? Alright, there's that. That didn't come out terrible. 7. Is the bottom piece. Don't screw this one up. This one's got the flag on it. Don't blow it. I blew it. Let's try it again. And 9. We still got, like, I guess we do pretty detailed interior too, because there's, I don't know if you can see this, some pretty detailed interior stuff there too. Let's get this last one on, get the last 4 pieces on, and then we're going to call it an evening. That actually isn't lined up as well as it could be. Let me take another stab at that one. I don't know if I can get it off though. Yep, thankfully I can. So we'll do that one, we'll give this one another try. Give it one more try. Ugh. That's better. That's better. Alright, so now my mystery 4 pieces, which tie these in from a structural standpoint. 2, 3, and 4. And there we go. We got our reflector, camera. We got the beginnings of a lunar module. Tomorrow we'll do the next part. We'll do the last 2 bags. We'll do bag 3 which will get us through this part of the build. Start to do some internal bits, do some external decoration stuff. Look at that. Kind of get the gold thing going. Get some legs. Yep. Yeah, by the end of bag 3, we're going to have a completed base. Now with bag 4, we get our other guy. We get it knocked out, and things will be really cool. I think and hope. I need a bookmark. I'm not bending pages. 80. I can remember 80. All right. So, almost there. A couple more hours tomorrow, which we'll do at 10 o'clock. We'll do 10 o'clock Eastern. So here's the base that we built. And this is the lander. So like I said, it's bigger than you think. I mean, this is bigger than the palm of my hand. It's probably going to sit about there. It'll be cool. All right, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming by. I'm going to go crash and do some stuff. Tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, we'll do part 2. We'll finish it up. And then Thursday, we'll play Lotro. It'll be good. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Appreciate all of you. I don't know where my thing went, so I can't push that button. Oh well. All right, have a good night, all. I will see you tomorrow.